I remember the day I noticed something strange about Sarah. She was telling a story about how she won a big prize at a fair, but something in her eyes didn't match her words. It felt like she was pretending, like a magician hiding the truth behind a trick. I was confused but also curious. Each day I listened to her stories, and they seemed more like puzzles. I could see how her smiles were sometimes forced, and how she avoided my questions. It felt like we were playing a secret game where I was trying to find the truth, and she was getting more and more frustrated as I started to piece things together. Just when I thought I had figured her out, she would surprise me with something new. I wondered if I should tell her I knew, or if there was something even bigger going on that I didn't understand. I never wanted to admit it, but Sarah's lies were strangely captivating. It felt like looking into a funhouse mirror. Everything was twisted, yet oddly appealing. She was like a puppet master, pulling the strings of trust and friendship. I watched her charm people, all while hiding her real motives. It was eerie how easily they believed her, totally clueless about the darkness lurking beneath. Anger bubbled inside me, mixed with sadness. Her lies showed how vulnerable she really was. She craved acceptance so badly that she'd to trick everyone around her. Deep down, she was scared and lonely. Instead of being honest, she chose to deceive. It made me wonder, if Sarah could be so fake, could I trust anyone at all? The excitement of her schemes pulled me closer, but it also pushed me away. I felt like I was watching a bad play, where every act got worse. Each lie she told was another, a knot in her web of betrayal. I could see her desperation. It was like a mirror of her fear of being unloved, of never fitting in. "I just wanted to be liked," she shouted one day, her eyes wild. "Is that so wrong?" "Yes," I shot back, feeling the weight of her betrayal. "You hurt everyone." Even as a kid at summer camp, Sarah struck me like a bolt of lightning. The second I saw her, I felt a weird mix of attraction and worry. Her smile looked real, but something felt off. She'd a sneaky charm that pulled everyone in. I watched as campers crowded around her, laughing at her jokes and hanging on her every word. It made my stomach twist. At first, Sarah seemed like the perfect friend, funny, bright, and always the center of attention. But deep down, I felt there was something darker hiding behind her happy face. I saw her whispering with another girl, plotting something that made my skin crawl. Her laughter was catchy, but it felt like a cover for something bad. As the days rolled on, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was messing with us. It was like she thrived on the control sheet over everyone. I felt betrayed. How could someone so charming be so tricky? I wanted to believe she was good, but every time we talked, I felt more lost. My gut told me to be careful. I might have been young, but I knew first impressions could be wrong. I had to stay alert, ready to uncover the truth behind her fake smile. "Hey, Sarah, what are you planning with Jenna?" I asked one day, trying to sound casual. She shot me a quick glance, her smile slipping for just a moment. "Oh, nothing. Just some fun ideas for the talent show," she replied too quickly. I wasn't convinced. The way she said it, I could feel the danger lurking. That night I overheard her and Jenna giggling about something. My heart raced. Were they plotting against me? I had to figure it out. I couldn't let her weave her web of lies around me. The more I hung out with Sarah, the more I felt something was wrong. At first, I thought I was just being paranoid. But as the days went by, my gut twisted tighter. Sarah had this way of telling stories that made everyone smile, but I couldn't shake the feeling there was a dark side hiding behind that charming grin. One day, I overheard her bragging about her flashy car, but then I heard another camper say she didn't even have a driver's license. My heart raced. Was she really so desperate for attention? It felt like her pretty smile was hiding a big, ugly secret. I started watching her closely. She'd a talent for twisting friendships like a game, using people's weaknesses to pull them under her control. It made me feel sick. I felt betrayed, not just by her, but by all the other campers who were too blind to see through her lies. I wanted to scream the truth at everyone, but I knew I needed proof first. Each day, I kept my eyes peeled, hoping she'd slip up and reveal her true colors. But waiting was hard. My stomach knotted with worry. I'd to do something before her web of lies trapped everyone around me. If I didn't act soon, Sarah's tricks would ruin our summer camp fun for good. Suddenly, I saw her chatting with a group, her laugh ringing out like a bell. "You guys should come for a ride in my car," she said, her eyes sparkling. I couldn't take it anymore. "What car, Sarah? The one you don't own?" I shot back, my voice cutting through the laughter. Everyone turned to stare, surprise written on their faces. Sarah's smile faltered, and for a moment, I saw panic flash across her eyes. "You're just jealous," she shot back, but I could sense the cracks forming. "Jealous? Of what?" "Your lies?" I pressed, adrenaline pumping. The group murmured, glancing. "Between us." "Enough!" Sarah snapped, her voice sharp. "You don't know what you're talking about." But I did. I was done sitting back. As I watched Sarah, I realized her schemes were like a spider's web, trapping anyone who got too close. I started to see how she twisted the truth, using her charm to control everyone around her. Each laugh felt like a trick, and every story she told hid a sneaky plan. My stomach knotted as I understood. She thrived on the chaos she caused. I paid closer attention to her moves. One minute she was my friend, the next she was whispering to Emily, plotting against me. It made me furious. Her charm worked like magic, making everyone think I was the problem. I wasn't imagining it. The air between us crackled with unspoken betrayal. Every day, I grew more determined to expose her lies. I watched her smile, always hiding the truth. With every conversation, her motives became clearer, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. It was tiring to navigate her world of deceit, where my friendships felt fragile. I knew I'd to stay ahead of her. I wouldn't let her lies ruin my summer. With each observation, I gathered strength for the confrontation ahead. I wouldn't let her trap me anymore. This was my time to stand tall and unveil the truth she thought was hidden. "Sarah, we need to talk," I said one afternoon, my heart racing. She turned, feigning innocence. "What about?" she asked, her smile wavering. "I know what you've been doing." "You're not fooling anyone," I shot back, feeling the weight of my words. Her eyes narrowed. "You think you can take me down? You'll regret this." "No. You're the one who'll regret underestimating me," I replied, feeling a spark of confidence. Just then, Emily walked in, and Sarah's mask slipped. The tension was electric. I was ready to fight for the truth, and I wouldn't back down. The game was on, and I was determined to win. I felt a rush of determination to confront Sarah, but I knew I needed solid proof first. I couldn't just accuse her without evidence. My mind raced with ways to gather what I needed. I started taking notes on everything I saw, every sneaky whisper, every sly look shared with Emily. I'd to be careful. If Sarah found out, my plan would be ruined. I used every trick I knew to collect evidence. I snapped photos of Sarah in action, caught her deceiving others. I even recorded bits of her conversations when I could, keeping my phone hidden. My heart raced every time I clicked the camera, knowing each shot could be the key to exposing her. Days went by, and my pile of evidence grew bigger. I asked a few trusted friends to help me document everything. We worked together, making sure we'd a strong case against her. I felt an urgency building inside me. I couldn't let her get away with this any longer. The more evidence I gathered, the more confident I became. Finally, I felt ready. I'd the proof I needed, and I was determined to reveal the truth, no matter what happened. Sarah thought she'd everyone fooled, but I was prepared to flip the script. The moment of truth was near, and I knew it would change everything. "Hey, Sarah," I said, my voice steady but my heart racing. She turned, a smirk on her face, unaware of the storm coming her way. "You think you can keep lying to everyone?" "I've proof." "What are you talking about?" she shot back, eyes narrowing. I stepped closer, holding my phone up. "You're about to get exposed." The tension crackled between us, and I could see the fear creeping into her eyes. She was about to find out that her games were over. With everything ready, the camp talent show was almost here, and I felt a rush of adrenaline. This was my chance to take down Sarah. While everyone else was excited, I was focused on the proof I had, ready to reveal her lies. As the sun set, I could hear Sarah practicing her song, her sweet voice making everyone smile. It made my stomach turn. She'd tricked us all too many times, and I couldn't stand by any longer. I remembered the times she manipulated our friends, and I knew it was now or never. Finally, it was my turn. I took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The spotlight felt hot, but I pushed through. My hands shook, but I had to be strong. I held up the photos in front of the crowd. "Everyone, listen up. Sarah isn't who you think she is," I shouted, my voice ringing out. Gasps echoed in the audience. I watched as Sarah's face went pale. She started to protest, saying the pictures were fake. But I could see fear creeping into her eyes. The crowd looked confused, torn between trusting her or believing me. I was done with Sarah's tricks. My heart raced, but I felt strong as I marched up to her. I gathered a group of campers who felt the same way. We were ready to take a stand against her lies. "Sarah, we know what you've been up to," I said, my voice steady even though I felt scared inside. Her face changed from shock to anger, and I could see her bravado cracking. She was good at telling stories, but not this time. I wouldn't let her twist the truth. I laid out everything she'd done. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I wasn't that scared kid anymore. I faced her head on. "You've hurt us, Sarah. It's time to stop hiding," I said, daring her to deny what she'd done. The air was thick with silence. I could see her thinking, trying to figure out how to spin things in her favor. But I wasn't scared now. I'd my friends by my side, ready to expose her for who she really was. "This ends now," I declared, feeling the power of my words. Sarah's games were over, and I wouldn't back down until she admitted to her lies and the pain she caused. We were ready to show everyone the truth, no matter how hard she fought back. The moment I exposed Sarah's lies, gasps filled the air like a sudden storm. It was electric, like lighting a fire in a dark room. Everyone's eyes were wide with shock, and whispers erupted among the campers. Confusion and disbelief painted their faces. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. But it felt heavy. Did they blame me for this? Would they turn against me too? I'd to stay strong. Holding up the proof of her deceit, I saw anger and betrayal flicker in their eyes. They'd trusted Sarah, believed in her sweet words, and now that trust lay in pieces. My heart raced. I couldn't let fear stop me. I'd to show them the truth. "Tighten your seatbelts, everyone," I said, my voice steady. "It's time to face what really happened." The tension was thick like fog, and I spotted tears glistening in some eyes. A few campers looked away, too afraid to face the truth, while others leaned closer, eager to hear more. They were engaged, but it was a painful engagement. As I laid out her lies, I realized this was bigger than just Sarah and me. It was about our whole camp. They needed to see how deep her betrayal ran. "We can't let her win," I declared, my voice cutting through the silence. "We deserve to know the truth and heal together," I pressed on, sharing the shocking details. Gasps erupted again, and I saw some faces turn pale. "Sarah played with our hearts," I added, my voice rising. "She used us for her own gain." The campers shifted, their anger bubbling to the surface. "How could we trust her?" one camper shouted, fists clenched. "That's what I'm trying to say," I replied, my heart pounding. "We need to stand together, stronger than before." As whispers of agreement rippled through the crowd, I felt the air change. This was it, the turning point. Sarah's charm, once so captivating, began to crack. My heart raced as I laid out the truth. Gasps filled the room, a mix of shock and disbelief. They had loved her. How could this sweet girl be a liar? I pressed on, adrenaline pumping. I showed them the photos, hard proof of her deceit. Each picture revealed the real Sarah, not the one they adored. Their trust hung in the balance, and I knew I'd to keep going. I noticed Sarah's confidence slipping. Her smirk turned into sheer panic. I could almost taste her fear. A part of me felt triumphant, but another part felt guilty. I didn't want to hurt her, but I couldn't let her keep tricking everyone. I scanned the crowd and realized this was bigger than just me. It was about saving them from her lies. That night changed everything. Not just for Sarah, but for us all. We were free from her spell. The turning point had come, and there was no turning back. I'd to be brave, but it felt heavy on my shoulders. "Why are you doing this?" Sarah shouted, her voice shaky. "Because you're a fraud," I shot back, voice steady. The crowd murmured, their eyes darting between us. I couldn't back down now. I'd to show them the truth. "This isn't just about you, Sarah. You've hurt so many," I called out, determination fueling my words. She clenched her fists, her face turning red. I could see the anger bubbling up, but it didn't matter. I'd to protect my friends. "Enough!" she screamed, but it was too late. The crowd was awake now, and I felt their support. The turning point was here, and I was ready to fight for the truth. The fallout hit the camp hard after I confronted Sarah. It was like a storm came crashing down. Campers who used to cheer for her now glared at me, their faces twisted with anger. I felt heavy inside, knowing I'd a hand in this mess. Sarah, once the superstar of the camp, now moved around like a ghost. She used to shine with energy, but now she was just a shadow, lost and alone. I couldn't help but think about how she'd twisted everyone's feelings to fit her needs. I exposed her, but at what price? That night, I tossed and turned, replaying the scene in my head. The gasps from the crowd echoed in my ears when I revealed her lies. I felt like I'd torn our camp family apart. I should have felt proud. But guilt clawed at me. I couldn't shake the image of Sarah sitting by the lake, tears streaming down her cheeks. She messed up, but I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. All she wanted was to be liked, and she went too far trying to get it. I thought, I'd won, but really, we all lost in this battle of trust and lies. The camp would never be the same again. The next day I found a group of campers whispering. "Can you believe she lied to us?" one said, shaking his head. "I thought she was our friend," another added, looking lost. I approached them, my heart racing. "Guys, I didn't want this to happen," I said, desperation creeping into my voice. Sarah needed help, but I'd to show the truth. They shot me confused looks. "But you could have talked to her first," one replied, crossing her arms. "Yeah, you could have saved us all this trouble," another chimed in. I felt my heart sink deeper. I wanted to explain, to make them understand, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I turned and walked away, feeling the weight of their disappointment on my shoulders. Later, I spotted Sarah again, sitting alone, staring at the water. I wanted to go to her, to say something that could bridge the gap, but fear held me back. Would she lash out? Would she blame me for everything? "Why did you do it, Sarah?" I finally called out, my voice trembling. She turned, her eyes filled with hurt. "I just wanted to fit in," she said softly. "I thought if I made myself special, people would love me." I nodded, seeing the truth in her words. We were both caught in this web of wanting acceptance, but we'd lost sight of what really mattered. Sitting by the campfire, I felt a storm of emotions inside me. I'd just exposed Sarah, and while everyone cheered, my victory felt empty. I glanced at the flames dancing in the night, mirroring the chaos swirling in my head. Sure, I'd protected my friends, but I also knew I'd shattered Sarah's world. Her tears from that night played on repeat in my mind. They were real, and they cut deep. "What have I done?" I muttered, kicking a small rock into the fire. I'd thought I was doing the right thing, but hurting someone who just wanted to fit in felt wrong. Everyone at camp celebrated me like a hero, but I felt like the villain. The laughter around the campfire faded into a dull roar. I couldn't shake the image of Sarah, alone and broken. Did I go too far? I whispered to myself. I remembered how she'd tried so hard to be liked, and instead, I'd just pushed her away. "Hey, you okay?" my friend Jake asked, sitting down beside me. "I don't know," I said, my voice shaky. I thought exposing her would make things better, but now, I just feel guilty. Jake frowned. "She brought it on herself, right? You did what you to do." Yeah, but at what cost? I shot back, frustration bubbling inside me. It's not just about winning. It's about people. The fire crackled as silence fell between us. I could see Sarah across the camp, sitting alone, her eyes downcast. I felt a pang in my chest. What if I'd just tried to talk to her instead? I wondered aloud. Maybe, Jake replied, shrugging. But she was manipulating everyone. You can't just let that slide. Maybe not, I said, but doubt crept in. I'd won this battle, but I was losing the war within myself. Triumph turned bitter, and I was left with the weight of my choices. As I stared into the flames, I realized that sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel right at all. The glow of the fire reminded me of the spark that had ignited this whole mess. I had to figure out how to live with the fallout of my actions. As I sat by the crackling campfire, a shocking thought struck me. Sarah was lying, but it was more than just tricks. Her stories hid something deeper, a need for attention and a fear of being alone. She wanted us to see her as special, but all I could see was her struggle. I watched her smile, but I could tell it was fake. She was scared of being rejected. If she didn't impress us, would we leave her behind? Trust felt like a thick fog over our camp, but I couldn't shake the sadness I felt for her. She built these walls of lies to protect herself from the truth of her lonely life. Suddenly it clicked. Sarah wasn't just being mean. She was asking for help. Her deceit was a way to hide her hurt, the pain of feeling unloved. I knew I'd to confront her, but I also felt for her. How could I reach out when she'd hurt us all? Sarah, you don't need to lie, I finally said, my voice steady but gentle. We care about you. She looked at me, her eyes wide with surprise. You don't understand. If I'm not interesting, I'll lose you. I took a deep breath. But hiding the truth will only push us away more. In that moment, I realized she was trapped in her own web of desperation, and I wondered if I could help her break free from the shadows she'd created around her heart. As the days went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah was always watching, ready to strike. Her threats were like a spider's web, wrapping tighter around me. It was hard to breathe under the weight of her emotional games. Sarah knew how to scare people. She used intimidation to keep everyone scared and confused. Whenever I saw my friends start to doubt each other, I knew it was her doing. Her fake friendships made it impossible to tell who was real and who was just playing along with her cruel tricks. I could see how her need for revenge twisted her into someone dark and dangerous. Every time I thought I'd figured her out, she pulled another sneaky move. The air felt thick with unspoken threats. I wanted to stand up to her, but I was terrified of what she might do next. The tension was electric, and I knew I'd to protect myself and my friends from her evil plans. But how? I took a deep breath and shared my worries. We need to talk about Sarah, I said, gathering my friends. She's up to no good. They nodded, eyes wide with fear and understanding. Together, we decided to confront her. I felt a spark of hope. Maybe if we stood strong, we could break free from her hold. But inside, I knew it wouldn't be easy. Sarah was fierce, and she wouldn't give up without a fight. The next day, we faced her together. We know what you're doing, Sarah, I shouted, my heart racing. Her eyes flashed with anger, and a sinister smile crept across her face. You think you can stop me? She sneered. I felt my friends behind me, ready for battle. We're not scared of you anymore, one of them yelled. Just when I thought I could handle the mess Sarah had made, a new guy showed up in camp. His name was Jake, and he fit right into Sarah's crazy game. I saw him hanging close to her, soaking in her lies like a sponge. It gave me chills. I could feel the new alliances forming, creeping around us like shadows. At first, Jake seemed nice, but I quickly sensed something was off. He was drawn to Sarah's charm, just like everyone else. But I wasn't fooled. I overheard them whispering about revenge. They were planning to turn the camp against me and my friends. My heart raced with anger. I felt betrayed again, this time by someone who'd just arrived. It was clear Sarah was regrouping, ready to strike. I'd to move fast. I couldn't let her twist Jake into doing her dirty work. I gathered my friends and spilled what I'd seen. We need to stick together, I urged. We can't let Sarah's tricks break us apart again. The air was thick with tension. As we got ready to face Sarah and Jake, it felt desperate. We were on the brink of a battle, facing betrayals from people we thought we could trust. I was determined to expose their plans and remind everyone of Sarah's true colors. This time, chaos wouldn't win. I'd fight back, and I wouldn't be alone. "Are you with me?" I asked my friends, staring into their eyes. They nodded, determination matching my own. We moved towards Sarah and Jake, ready to confront the dark twist in our camp. We wouldn't let betrayal take us down. Not today. My mind raced as I thought of all the ways she could ruin my friendships. I replayed every smile and laugh they shared. What if they believed her lies? What if they turned against me? I felt like I was losing my grip on reality, stuck in this suspicious loop. Each day, I braced myself for the worst. When I saw her charming others, it hurt. I felt like an outsider, watching her spin her web of deceit while my friends acted clueless. It drove me crazy. I wanted to shout, to reveal her true colors, but fear held me back. What if no one believed me? That fear piled on top of my jealousy, making it harder to breathe. I knew I'd to do something. I couldn't let her control me anymore. I took a deep breath and decided to confront her. "Sarah," I said, my voice steady but my heart racing. "What are you really doing?" She smirked, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Oh, come on. You know I'm just being friendly." "Friendly?" "It looks like you're plotting," I shot back. My hands clenched into fists. Her laughter echoed sharp and cold. "You're just jealous, aren't you?" That was it. I couldn't let her twist the truth. "No more games, Sarah. I'll expose you. You won't win." I tried to stay calm, but the urge to listen in on Sarah's conversations was too strong. I knew she was hiding something, and I'd to find out what. I picked a quiet spot nearby, pretending to read, while my ears perked up, straining to catch the whispers of her secret plans. Sarah was good at lying, spinning stories like a pro. I focused on her tone and the words she used. I'd to gather information. This was my mission. Every time I saw her act shady, my heart raced. I felt a mix of anger and fear. I needed proof to show everyone what she was really like. Why can't she just be honest? I whispered to myself, gripping my book tightly. It was like a game, and I'd to play it smart. She was clever, always hiding the truth. But with every quiet plan I overheard, I felt stronger. I was getting closer to uncovering her lies. "Did you see what she did?" Sarah said to her friend, her voice low. "I can't believe they fell for it." My stomach dropped. She was manipulating everyone, and I couldn't let her get away with it. "I'm on to you, Sarah," I thought, my resolve hardening. I'd to confront her, to show her that her tricks wouldn't work forever. The stakes were high. It was time to reveal the truth and end her games once and for all. As soon as I heard Sarah's chilling plan, I knew I'd to warn my friends fast. My heart pounded. The warning signs were there, flashing like a red alarm. Sarah was up to something dangerous, and it felt like a dark cloud was hanging over us. She'd already stirred up chaos, and now she was plotting revenge. I couldn't let my friends get hurt. I rushed everyone into the mess hall, my breath quickening. "Listen up!" I shouted, my voice cracking with urgency. "Sarah's planning something bad. I heard her talking about getting back at us. We can't trust her anymore." I saw the shock on their faces. Some looked confused, others didn't believe me. But I'd to keep going. "She's been lying to us. We need to stick together." Some of my friends exchanged worried looks. I could see their trust in Sarah wavering. She'd always been the charmer, but I couldn't let that distract me. "I know it sounds crazy," I insisted, "but I've seen her true colors. We've to be careful." The room fell silent, tension crackling in the air. I could feel their doubt, but we'd to act. We huddled together and made a plan to watch Sarah closely, ready to confront her if things got worse. We'd to protect ourselves and each other. I hoped, maybe even prayed, that this time I wouldn't have to face her alone. Just then, the door swung open, and there stood Sarah, a sly smile on her face. My heart dropped. She'd overheard us. I stepped forward, my fists clenched. What you want, Sarah? I demanded. Oh, just checking in on my friends, she said, her voice dripping with sweetness. What were you all talking about? I exchanged glances with my friends, knowing we'd to stand strong. We were just talking about how we need to be careful, I said, trying to sound brave. Her smile widened, but I could see the darkness behind it. Careful of what? I'd never hurt you, she purred. But the threat was clear. My spine tingled with fear. This was more than just a game. We'd to stay united or risk losing everything. The moment Sarah stepped into the clearing by the campfire, a wave of fear and determination hit me like a punch. My heart raced. There she was, the girl whose lies almost destroyed us all. I felt a mix of anger and pity. We both had to face the truth today. We formed a circle around the fire, united as a group. I took a deep breath and said, "You've hurt us with your lies, Sarah. It's time to pay for what you've done." Her eyes narrowed, but I caught a glimpse of doubt. She was trapped, and I felt a spark of triumph. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. But then she opened her mouth to speak, and I hesitated. What if calling her out made things worse? I questioned if revenge was worth it. The weight of responsibility pressed down on me. Could I really stand here and tear away her last defenses? Still, I pushed forward. We just want the truth. My words stung as they left my lips, but they were needed. I wanted her to see the pain she'd caused. I realized then that facing the truth was crucial, not just for me, but for Sarah too. This showdown would change everything, and we were finally ready to confront the mess we'd made together. "Why should I tell you anything?" she shot back, her voice sharp as a knife. "You think you're so perfect?" "Stop deflecting. We're not here to play games," I shouted, frustration boiling over. "You can't keep lying to us." The fire crackled between us, the tension thick. Sarah's face twisted, torn between anger and fear. "You think I wanted this?" she spat, her eyes flashing. "I did what I'd to do." "Had to do?" I retorted, stepping closer. "You only cared about yourself. This isn't just about you anymore." The group shifted, tense and silent, watching the confrontation unfold. I could sense the stakes rising. There was no turning back now. "No more lies, Sarah. Just the truth." Her expression softened for a moment, and I thought I saw regret. But then she hardened again. "Fine. You want the truth? Here it is. I wanted power, and I used you all to get it." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Betrayal cut deep, and I felt the group's shock. Trust shattered, and the fire crackled, ominously. We'd finally uncovered the darkness behind her deceit. But as the truth spilled out, I knew this was just the beginning of our fight. We'd to choose. Forgive her, or let her go forever. The choice felt heavy, but we were ready to face whatever came next. When Sarah finally confessed, I felt a heavy stone drop in my stomach. It wasn't just her truth. It was our truth, too. We'd all been tangled in her lies, like puppets on strings, and now we'd to cut them. Anger surged inside me. How could my friend betray us like this? "This is unbelievable, Sarah," I shouted, my voice shaking. "We trusted you." Her eyes darted, and I could see her bravado cracking. She stood there, but I could tell she was scared. I looked at my friends, and we all shared the same determination. This was our moment. We wouldn't be victims anymore. We'd take back our power. "Enough!" yelled Jenna, stepping forward. "You think you can just play us like that? We're not falling for your games anymore." Sarah shifted uncomfortably, and I could see the truth was hitting her hard. We were no longer backing down. This wasn't just about Sarah. It was about our own strength. "Why did you do it?" I demanded, my heart racing. "What did you gain from lying to us?" She hesitated, and the silence felt heavy. I thought it would protect you," she muttered. But we all knew it was a weak excuse. "Protect us?" I scoffed. "You hurt us. You made us doubt ourselves." With each word, I felt lighter. We'd come together, ready to confront the darkness Sarah had woven around us. This was about healing, about moving on from her toxic grip. "We're done with this," I declared, gazing at my friends, who stood strong, beside me. "We're stronger than you think, Sarah." We stood together, ready to fight against the lies that had crept into our camp. The air felt tense, but I was oddly strong. We all wanted the same thing: to uncover Sarah's deceit and take back our camp. In that moment, honesty became our armor. We were no longer alone. We were a team against the lies. As we huddled around the campfire, I could see determination in everyone's eyes. Each of us had been hurt by Sarah's betrayal. I remembered how she'd used her charm to twist our friendships into something ugly. But now, we'd the truth, and that truth was binding us together. "Remember when she said she didn't take the last of the snacks?" Someone shouted, anger sparking in their voice. "That was a lie." "Yes, and she told everyone I said things I didn't," another chimed in, fists clenched. With every story shared, the weight of fear started to lift. Their trust in me pushed me to fight harder. We weren't just defending ourselves, we were standing up for each other, for the friendships she'd tried to break. The night grew dark, but our spirits shone bright. Our plan wasn't just about revealing lies, it was a promise to always back each other up. With every truth shared, I felt us reclaiming our camp, and with it, our sense of belonging. We were stronger, standing against the deceit that had threatened us. "Let's show Sarah that we know what she's done," I shouted, and everyone cheered. The showdown felt like a win, but now I was stuck with a heavy heart. I'd called out Sarah for her lies, but seeing the fallout made me uneasy. The camp was alive with whispers. Campers who once cheered for her now shot her angry looks and muttered behind her back. I was torn between feeling relieved and feeling guilty. Sure, I did the right thing, but at what cost? The thrill of revealing the truth faded fast when I saw Sarah's face. She wasn't the fun girl anymore. She was an outcast, shunned, and sad. I never wanted it to end up like this. My friends were hyped, celebrating my bravery, but I couldn't join in. I watched Sarah drift around the camp like a shadow. My heart sank. I remembered her pleading for friends, wanting to be liked. Her lies were born from pain, a desperate need for acceptance. It hit me hard. Exposing her didn't just bring justice, it shattered her world. "Why did you have to say anything?" Sarah's voice broke through my thoughts. Her eyes were red, filled with hurt and confusion. "I thought it was the right thing to do," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Right for who?" She shot back, anger mixed with sorrow. "You just wanted to be the hero." I felt my stomach twist. She was right. I'd played a part in her downfall. I was one step ahead of her tricks. But now I was left questioning everything. The victory tasted bitter, like eating sand. I'd won the battle, but the real war was raging inside me. I'd to face the truth. Betrayal runs deep, and trust can break in an instant. As I watched Sarah walk away, I realized I'd opened a door I couldn't close. The camp felt different now, darker. Love turned toxic, and friendships twisted into something ugly. My heart ached, knowing I was part of this mess. As I thought about the wild stuff that happened at camp, I realized how important it's to understand why people act the way they do. Take Sarah, for example. She wasn't just being mean, she was desperate to fit in. That's when I learned that seeing someone's pain is crucial. People often hide their hurt with lies, and we've to look deeper. I thought I could see through her tricks, but it took a hard lesson to grasp how low she'd go. Understanding manipulation isn't just about catching someone in a lie. It's about seeing the fear behind it. Sarah seemed so charming, but inside, she was scared and lonely. She wanted love and attention, and that need pushed her to do bad things. "Why did you do it, Sarah?" I asked one day, my voice steady but my heart racing. "I just wanted to be liked," she replied, eyes wide with panic. Her words hit me hard. It was a moment of truth amid the chaos. I could feel the weight of her desperation, and suddenly, I understood a little more about the dark side of trust and love. Understanding Sarah's pain opened my eyes to how important healing was, not just for her, but for all of us. After everything that happened, I realized we needed to heal. We were all hurt, betrayed, and confused. Sarah's lies had trapped us in a tangled mess, It wasn't just about what she did. It was about why she did it. I sat by the lake, watching her cry. "I just wanted to be liked," she shouted, her voice breaking. I felt her desperation, but her choice to deceive us made everything worse. How could we forgive her? How could we move on when the wounds were still so fresh? We had to start somewhere. "Let's talk," I said, gathering everyone around the campfire. "We need to share what we feel." Each of us spoke up, our voices shaky as we relived the hurt. It was tough, but we'd to let it out to begin healing. Days passed, and I saw a change in Sarah. She started to open up. "I didn't know how to be honest," she admitted, tears rolling down her cheeks. Slowly, we began to see her as someone who needed help, not just the person who hurt us. After Sarah's betrayal, the camp felt heavy. Trust was shattered, and we all felt the weight of her lies. We couldn't let her actions tear us apart, though. We'd to stick together. That night, I gathered everyone around the fire. "We need to talk," I said, looking at their hurt faces. "We can't let this break us." The air crackled with tension as we shared our feelings. "I can't believe she lied to us," one camper shouted, anger flaring. "We trusted her," another added, voice shaking with emotion.